Hey guys, well hopefully you'll be able to hear me over the wind. We're having a little bit of a weather event right now. Nothing too major, but we're getting some storms rolling through. And today I'm going to revisit this whole boiling in the birch bark container. I know you guys are probably wondering, or maybe you're wondering, you got it to stone boil. Why in the hell do you keep coming back to this? You can boil in it over a fire or over coals. And I'll tell you, I'm in my 40s, I'm in my early 40s. So when I was first starting to get into this stuff, I did not have the benefit of YouTube or the internet or anything like that. I had survival books, and mostly the U.S. Army survival book. There were camping books, stuff like that, but it was mostly the Army survival book. And even after I got older, a lot of you guys my age or whatever are a lot more technologically savvy or whatever than I am, and you guys probably discovered YouTube a lot earlier than me, or discovered the internet a lot earlier than me. I have begun to discover it lately and stuff, but for me it was always books. I love to read. I read everything I get my hands on. It was always books. And in several books, not just one, and I can't remember them all off the top of my head. Sorry for the wind. And maybe we'll go inside the garage so I can make myself heard a little bit better. Hang on a second, guys. Alright, sorry about that. Anyway, it was always books for me. And if someone put it in a book, semi-reputable book, or even on a post nowadays on Facebook, or one of the groups on Facebook, if someone puts it in a post and says, all you have to do is do this, well, for me, in order for me to believe it, I need to do it for myself. And when I have always believed that you could just grab this birch bark, fold it like a piece of paper, and put it over the fire. Maybe believe is a little strong a term, but it's always been in the back of my mind of something that I've always wanted to try. That goes with a lot of these projects that I do. I get vague information, okay? Information that I remember from when I was 16 or 17 or 15 and reading this stuff and thinking, oh wow, that'd be interesting to try, I'll have to give that a try. And then you got these stupid black and white pictures that are very vague, that that the person that wrote it probably copied from God knows where. Most of the time, in my experience, they haven't even tried it themselves. Some of the books are a lot different, I understand that, but some of the books that I was exposed to early on. And nowadays, even like I'm saying, with Facebook posts and stuff like that, people are like, well, all you have to do is do this, or all you have to do is do that. Okay, that's fair enough. You've probably got a lot more knowledge than I do, because I've only been doing this for a few years. Hardcore, practice every night type of deal. So I'll try it your way. Well, a lot of times you'll find that the people that tell you, oh hey, all you have to do is just do it this way, have never really tried it themselves. They have copied information or regurgitated information that they gleaned from a book, or someone on a different post said, hey, all you have to do is do that, so then they take it for granted, or take it as gospel. Well, I like to try these projects kind of going into them with basically, just the knowledge that I've gained. And some of the stuff I research a little bit, but this one I didn't really research that much. But I like to go into these projects and really see if this stuff will work with my knowledge. If I fail, I am not saying it's not possible. I'm saying with my skill set, I was unable to do it. So you get the average Joe guy, not that I'm anything great or anything, but I have been studying a little bit. You get the average Joe guy that reads a survival book and then thinks he can do all this stuff without trying it. It's just, you're leading yourself on. You need to try it. You need to watch people on YouTube or whatever. Don't take the posts as gospel, and don't regurgitate the post as gospel or whatever unless you've tried this stuff yourself. With some things, you know. Anyway, that's kind of not really a rant, but I mean, that's why I try this stuff. I've tried it several different ways. Yeah, I got it to work with stone boiling. I had some technique issues with my first over the flame thing. And I really want to give it 110% before I say, to heck with that, I'm not doing that. That's a bogus way of doing it. Now, some of the ways that I end up having to accomplish the task, is it worth it? Probably not. But I was able to accomplish the task, and I can say, yeah, you can do it, but it's a major pain and a lot more effort than probably what it's worth. Now, with this particular task, stone boiling, you guys saw, you probably heard at the very beginning I knocked a couple of the stones off before I put them into the birch bark container. I just wanted it to boil. I wasn't going to drink the water, but stone boiling in general will make your water quite dirty. One thing I think that would combat that would be to knock the ash off the rocks, have another container, or even like if you did it next to the river or lake or whatever, dip them really quick into the lake and then dip them into your container. You're still putting a dirty rock in your water, you know, whatever. I think it's maybe a little bit cleaner to boil in a container, you know, like a birch bark container. Anyway, enough of the rambling. That's why I'm trying it again. I want to try it as hard as I frickin' can before I say, to hell with it, I'm done. It's just like the hand drill. I got blisters again, because I just tried it the other night. And I did it kind of I did it with poor technique, and that's why I got blisters again. Does that mean I think that the hand drill is like totally the stupidest thing ever and that it can't be done? Absolutely not. That's why I'm continuing to practice and continuing to go on. I know for a fact it works because I've seen video evidence, and I know I have good friends that can do it. It just means with my skill set right now, I can't do it. Whatever. This particular project I haven't seen done boiling over an open fire, but like I said, I've seen it in books. So now what I've done is I went ahead and harvested some more of that bark off of that recently dead tree, and I made it into a cone. Last time, the problem with that was that it was a very thin piece of bark and it really started to warp. So what I did is I took a little more time and I made it into a cone. Okay, I got just a random poplar twig, okay, and I split it and then wrapped the nettle cordage around there to hold it around the split so it would prevent it from splitting any further, and also to hold the birch bark closed and in place. And then I took a willow branch, okay, and I worked it, okay, just sat there and worked it, made it even more flexible than what it was, and then just overlapped it, and then just took, and this isn't even nettle cordage, it's just the strands from the nettle. And, you know, it's just something I'm digging into is the nettle again. And I tried to make a frame so that now the bark container won't warp like it did before. And then I stitched it onto that willow. I stitched the bark onto the willow. So now I have a frame that I'm hoping will not cave, and it's a thicker piece of bark. It's a nice piece of bark, and it did hold water already once. I harvested it. I've had to do this over a few days. The project itself hasn't really taken me that long. It's just, you know, guys, I come home, I got to take care of my dogs, I got to do a bunch of crap. I usually cook dinner, and then I'm in bed by 9 o'clock because I got to get up at 4 in the morning. So I have to hurry up and hit something for half hour, 45 minutes, at the most an hour, before I have to just put it up and try again the next day. And all of this right now, I would say, took me for sure less than an hour. I'd say it probably took me maybe 45 minutes at the most, and that's, you know, messing around with the dogs and stuff like that. So anyway, there you go. And I'm going to do this in the garage today for a couple of reasons. First of all, it's raining. I don't have enough time to get all dressed up and go out in the woods and make a fire in the rain. And I kind of want to show something else too. I'm very fortunate that I live in the country and I can just literally walk out my front door and I've got birch trees growing right there. I've got some pine trees. I got a lot of resources very, very close to me. I can go out back and do any type of camping I want, any type of trapping, anything like that. But for those of you who live in the city or do not have access to stuff like that, you can do the projects in your garage, and it can be very similar to doing it in the woods. You definitely want to try it in the woods after you do it in the garage, but it can still be very similar. You might not be able to just rip a birch bark, bark off a tree or something like that, but you can do a lot of these other projects. And actually today what I'm going to do is I have some leftover briquettes from my barbecue. I've started them already and they're getting a coal up. So I'm going to try to boil water in this birch bark container over a charcoal just barbecue, and that's pretty good practice. I mean, you guys saw me doing it over a fire. It's not like I don't know how to make a fire. It's just, this is easy, convenient, fast practice. So anyway, enough of my ramblings and stuff, and I gotta go check on my dogs because that little one is scared to death of the thunder, and he's already, well, my wife showed me he dug a hole in the wall last time it thundered, so I gotta kind of keep an eye on him too. So, alright, I'll get reset up and get back with you. Okay guys, I think she's gonna start storming pretty good here in a few minutes. Anyway, I've got my little birch bark container. I got one little piece of wood on the fire and the rest is just coals. I got 2 cups of water. Let's see how much it holds, or even if this'll hold. This, I did not stitch around this split here, so it may not have enough friction to even hold it. It may just be a poor concept to begin with. Yep, and there it goes. All right. Well, I'm going to stitch around that and I'll be right back, because I still want to see if this will boil. The amount of the container is not important to me because I could get, a huge tree or something like that. And like I said, I just want to see if this is even feasible. All right, I'm going to stitch around that. Okay, well, hopefully you can hear me over the wind. Like I said, we're kind of having a storm here. But I forgot to show you. I kind of stitched around. When I made this, it was yesterday. I had just harvested the nettle and I did not allow it to dry. So now it shrank over where the split is, but I stitched it around the little pucker or gathering there and tried to wrap it around that split again. So hopefully it'll hold. Hopefully that's enough water. It's not very much at all. I have a feeling this is going to end up right in the fire. It's very unstable due to the fact that it's only a friction fit. I mean, I did stitch it, but I didn't. There, see, I already put half my fire out. Now it's starting to rain on my back, which is awesome. Okay, so I can see already that I stiffened up the outside part, but now this pucker part is starting to warp a little bit. It's getting flexible and stuff. So I think she's fixing the storm pretty good. I'm just going to keep it up here and hopefully not fly away in a tornado, and I'll get back with you. Well, I might have to call it off till tomorrow. I don't know. I'll try it one more time, but she's storming pretty good now. Alright, well, I got my camera out of the wind a little bit better now. I just want it to boil. This is a balancing act, twisting my hand back and forth to make sure this fucker doesn't dump water in the barbecue like it did before. Flames are a little high on that side. The wind is right in my face, but I had to move my camera. So I'm going to get a face full of smoke every so often. And a back full of rain. Barely warm. I'll get back. I gotta shut the. Oh, son of a. The bark on the outside is quite warm. The branch. Yeah. A hell of a way to boil water. I'd like to meet the guy that said he did it. I'd like to have someone show me, or show me a video. This way is very, very awkward. If I would have tied another branch to this part of the willow and another one to that part of the willow for a stable platform, I just lost power. Then I could see making some sort of a platform or something for it, but this is definitely not the way to do it. Now I don't have enough water in there to protect my bark. It's going to catch on fire again. It's a decent fire, but it would take a long time to boil water like this. Doesn't mean the container's useless, it just means I don't think I'm going to be able to boil water in it. Kind of a cool little container, actually. Barely warm. I mean, it's warm, but it was cold right from the tap from my well, and it's going to take it a while. Woo! Dang. That's hot. Very little water in there, but I just want to see if I can boil it. Okay, I'm going to say this is so impractical that it's not even worth me researching this any further. I know I can stone boil in it. I know that you would need quite a different container to make this a reliable method to either, let's say, make coffee in or cook a meal in or something like that. It's starting to leak in the bottom. I got impatient, so I put it like basically right on the coals and cut it on fire a couple of times. But it's definitely hot enough to have pasteurized and maybe even cook something if you were to leave it over the fire for, you know, quite a while, depending on what you were cooking. It's quite hot. I don't want to leave my finger in there for more than about a second. But so impractical that it's not even worth me messing around with anymore. I could probably sit here, I might be able to sit here and get it to boil, tweaking my method maybe just a little bit, but it's so impractical that it's just not even, it's like I said, it's just not even worth me pursuing any further. And I do have a leak now. It's dripping every couple of seconds. So there you go. Okay guys, well, I hope you liked the video. I actually kind of thought I'd actually be able to make that to work. I mean, I sat here, I'm going to have to edit this quite a bit, but I know when my wife came home, I told her I was going to be 20 minutes, and I know that was about 45 minutes ago. So, can it be done? I could see where it probably could be done. Okay, a much better container, a lot of add-ons, a bigger container. Is it practical? No, not at all. What, you know, they put that in the survival book or whatever, hey, you can do this. Sometimes they also put in there, hey, you can make a flint and steel with natural material. Can you make a flint and steel fire with natural material? Sure, depends on what it is. I've done it before with chaga and different funguses. Dried out very well. Is it practical? No, it's not practical. I wanted to try this for myself and see how practical it is. Is it practical to stone boil? Absolutely. Absolutely 100% practical to stone boil, and very efficient in my opinion. Way more efficient than hollowing out a log like I did earlier this year. If I had bamboo, would I pick the bamboo? Absolutely. It was actually quite easier once I got the technique down to boil in bamboo. Very, very efficient manner. Like I said, same thing with over an open fire with the bamboo. And like I said, same thing with the birch bark with stone boil. Very efficient method. No. This will be the end of these videos for these birch bark container boils. All right, take care and hope you liked the video.